Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel AVA Learning. Today, I'm going to tell you a story that feels almost like a movie. A story filled with struggle, discipline, mystery, and power. This is the life story of Vladimir Putin, one of the most talked about leaders in the world. Whether you admire him or not, his journey from a small, crowded apartment to the presidency of Russia is nothing short of extraordinary. So sit back, relax, and let this story inspire your English. And maybe inspire your life too. Part 1. The Tough Beginning. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin was born on October 7, 1952, in Leningrad, today known as St. Petersburg. He was the youngest child in his family, but his two older brothers passed away before he was born. That made him the only surviving child of Maria and Vladimir Putin. Putin didn't grow up in comfort. His family lived in an old communal apartment, where several families shared one kitchen and one bathroom. Privacy didn't exist. If you needed the toilet, you waited in line. If you wanted to cook, you stood behind other families. This was normal life after World War II. Leningrad had been destroyed, food was limited, and work was hard to find. Putin's parents struggled, but they taught him one thing: never give up. Part 2. The Boy Who Refused to Be Weak. Putin was small and skinny as a kid. Because of that, older boys sometimes tried to bully him. But instead of running away, he decided to change himself. At 12 years old, he began training in judo and sambo, practicing every day with intense discipline. He wasn't fighting just to win. He was fighting to build mental strength. Years later, he earned a black belt, and even as president, he continued practicing. Judo became his philosophy. Stay calm, stay focused, strike only when needed. Unlike most kids who dreamed of becoming teachers or doctors, Putin had a different dream. He wanted to be a spy. Part 3. The Making of a KGB Officer. Putin studied hard, got into Leningrad State University, and chose law, the perfect path toward the KGB. He wasn't the most social student, but he was serious, disciplined, and smart. In 1975, his childhood dream finally came true. He joined the KGB, the Soviet Union's powerful intelligence agency. His first major assignment took him to East Germany during the Cold War, where he gathered intelligence and sharpened his skills. He became fluent in German and learned to remain calm in dangerous situations, skills that would later define him as a leader. Part 4. The world changes, and so does Putin. In 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. Soon after, the Soviet Union began to collapse. Putin returned home, and in 1991, he left the KGB to start a new chapter. He began with small administrative work at his university, but he didn't stay small for long. The mayor of St. Petersburg, Anatoly Sobchak, noticed Putin's discipline and loyalty and invited him to join his team. Putin wasn't loud, but he got things done. He earned a reputation for being calm, reliable, and extremely efficient. But when Sobchak lost re-election in 1996, Putin's job disappeared. Instead of quitting, he took a risk and moved to Moscow. That decision changed everything. Part 5. Rising to Power in Moscow. In Moscow, Putin worked quietly but effectively, climbing through the government ranks. His ability to stay composed under pressure impressed President Boris Yeltsin. And then, in 1999, the unexpected happened. Yeltsin appointed Putin as prime minister. And on December 31st, 1999, Yeltsin suddenly resigned and named Putin as acting president. On January 1st, 2000, as the world entered a new millennium, Vladimir Putin became the leader of Russia. Part 6. Restoring a Broken Country. Russia was in chaos, weak economy, corruption everywhere, high crime, unpaid workers. Putin started making tough decisions immediately. He fought corruption, strengthened the government, rebuilt industries, used Russia's oil and gas wealth to stabilize the economy. Gradually, the country began to stand on its feet again. Putin also invested heavily in modernizing the military, turning it into a strong global force. Part 7. A leader who controls the narrative. Putin understood the power of information. He made sure major TV networks supported stability, not chaos. Some people saw this as controlling. Others believed it was necessary. He also confronted the oligarchs, wealthy businessmen who once influenced government decisions. Putin forced them to follow the law or leave the country, proving that no one would be more powerful than the presidency. Part 8. His private life and public image. Putin married Lyudmila Shkrebneva in 1983, and they had 2 daughters. But he kept his family extremely private. The couple divorced in 2013. Putin became famous for his strongman image, riding horses shirtless, flying fighter jets, diving in the ocean, practicing judo, meeting wild animals. These moments weren't random. They created a powerful image of a fearless leader. Part 9. Crimea, Geopolitics, and Global Power. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea, a move that shocked the world and led to global sanctions. Inside Russia, however, it boosted Putin's popularity. He strengthened alliances with China, the Middle East, India, and parts of Africa. He promoted the idea of a multipolar world, a world where power is balanced and not dominated by one country. Part 10. Cyber Power and Modern Influence. Putin understood that future wars would be digital. Russia invested heavily in cyber technology and became one of the most advanced cyber powers in the world. This gave Russia influence far beyond its borders. Part 11. A legacy of strategy and discipline. Putin believes leadership is about adaptation. He invests in education, healthcare, and technology to prepare Russia for the future. He hosts a yearly event where citizens ask him questions directly, showing he wants to stay connected with ordinary people. Whether you agree with him or not, Putin's ability to survive political crises, sanctions, and global pressure shows one thing. He is a strategist. Part 12. Lessons from Putin's life. Here are the key lessons from Putin's journey. 1. Resilience matters. Hard beginnings don't define your destiny. 2. Think like a strategist. Don't rush. Plan. 3. Stay disciplined. Success comes from daily habits. 4. Stand by your principles. Leaders can't please everyone. 5. Invest in yourself. Knowledge and skill are real power. From a tiny shared apartment in Leningrad to the highest seat of power in Russia, Putin's life is a reminder that where you start is not where you must end. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want more inspirational biographies, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below.